doing? What's new? Want to move it along a bit there? We got people kind of waiting and watching, eh? Mr. Snail, he's kind of cool. All right, there we go. Okay, so my Prime Minister Stephen Harper, went up to the Arctic and to talk about Arctic sovereignty. And who does he go and hang out with? The 3rd Canadian Rangers. Now, for those of you who don't know who the 3rd Canadian Rangers are, they are kind of a branch of the military. They're kind of what you'd call an Arctic patrol. When you sign up, basically, it's mostly Inuit and people in the north, right? And what they do is they get issued a snowmobile, a green blazing jacket, or not a bright green blazing jacket, but like a Christmas tree green, and a 303 British. That's so cool. Just for the 303 British, it makes you want to almost volunteer. It's all volunteer from what I understand. Now, apparently they're taking, this should be a big sign for some people. We're going from, I think, 1,500 to 5,000 of them. They're going to increase this Arctic Patrol. So what's really going on? You know, they're vigilant. So you think of them like they're scouting their recon, right? But they're also polar bear patrol, and they're also, you know, people get lost, and they do a lot of different things, and they're pretty cool. So I see a picture on the CBC of my Prime Minister, you know, shooting a 303 British. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. It kind of makes it, maybe, you know, okay, it's not Latimer Putin with his AKs, but, you know, okay, that's pretty good. But then I'm like, but here's the thing. I own a 303 British, okay? So I'm like, okay, that's nice and all, but let's get back to the gun rights here in Canada. Well, you know, maybe, you know, if you really wanted absolute security of the country, you need to get rid of the ridiculous gun laws. You need it to make it easier for people to not only get firearms that, you know, I'm talking law-abiding only. But I'm okay with the safety training course. Yes, I hate to see government make money, but I do believe in training. Even if you're an American watching this, you know, I don't think you should have a gun in your hand unless you know how to use it. And this idea, well, I know how to use everything. I'm smarter than everybody else. No, you know, you need training. Even if it's a kind of a kindergarten, dumbed-down version of training of the basics, it's just to plant that seed of safety. And that's how I feel about guns. The right to carry guns? Oh, hell yeah. You know, if you've been watching my channel, you know, I've been talking about it till I've been blue in the face, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that day may come if I can reach enough people. So you got to share these videos. Get on it. And more, you got to call your MPs and MLAs. Now, for those of you probably wondering, well, what's this have to do with Arctic sovereignty? Well, that's everything to do with Arctic sovereignty. But not just Arctic sovereignty, like the country's sovereignty. If everybody owns a gun in their home, and they know how to competently use it, and they're safe with it, and if they would lock it up and whatever, all that, and they teach the children, you create a gun culture, which Canada kind of already has a massive. The biggest thing is when people watch from around the world, they do not realize how much of the gun nuts that live here. If you're in a rural area, you know, people say, oh, Canadians aren't gun nuts. We're just not as outspoken on it, that's all. But you're not going to find a, yeah, you will be. You won't pry my gun from my cold, dead hand. You'll be prying it from my cold, dead hands, feet, legs, whatever. I'm, you know, you're gonna bear tackle the thing. You know what I mean? It's like mine. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, we love our guns. We really do. And when you offer the opportunity for training, like the Canadian Rangers, there's no reason why you can't have that throughout the entire country. Volunteer only, and basically it's like grown-up Boy Scouts. Think about it that way. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We need people to patrol parks, you know, like big parks, like, say, La Vendrée Park, or, you know, Gatineau Park, or, you know, those type of places. Do they need to carry? Well, you know, I think you should be allowed to carry, again, with training. If police officers have to train, so do civilians. You know, it's like anybody can shoot a firearm, but to shoot it under stress in a defensive mode, that requires training, period. And that's if you don't have the training, I don't agree with people carrying it. Why? Because bullets are liability, and you need to be able to control that. And you know, to me, it's about quality control. So I'm for the right to for the right to carry, but you know, not just for law enforcement, military, because they're so limited in numbers. They really are. But your citizenry, you know, Sir John Peel said it best here. One of our prime ministers from way back said, the police are the people are the police. Well, this is true. You know, if everybody's armed, nobody, you know, I mean, would you attack Sparta? You know what I mean? You know, think about it. You know, it's like, yeah, get off my maple syrup. Click. Take some, yeah, brought the bacon, left the mayonnaise. Boom. There you go. So, yeah, nobody will invade Canada. Yeah. Or what we'll do is we'll arrest you, tie you to a chair, and make you listen to Celine Dion for 12 hours. You'll be done after the first 10 minutes, I swear to God. Secret weapon. We don't need nukes. We got her. Anyway, yeah. So the Arctic sovereignty, yes, we got to get those ships built. We got to get those submarines functioning. But the problem is we have so few submarines. We need coverage. But I think just vigilance from the citizenry. I mean, when you give people a task, it doesn't just build patriotism. You know, so there can be blind patriotism and boogeyman patriotism, and that's not good. But just this idea of kind of like what the Swiss do with their, you know, I wouldn't do it exactly the same way the Swiss do it, because it'd be a little bit expensive to do it that way for the country. What I would do is have a smaller military, well, about the same size as the military we have now, but, you know, more reservists, get out of everybody else's business. But what I would do, again, is just arm the citizenry. Again, if you gave everybody a brown bass musket, okay, we're talking 33.5 million brown bass muskets. Okay, there we go. Everybody has a brown bass musket in the country. Okay, and they only fire one successful shot. There's not an army on the planet, let alone even if China was able to get the 200 million man army. You lose 33 million. You're going to lose more than 33 million of them. You know, especially if we know you're coming. You know what I mean? And they'd have to fight you tooth and nail the entire way. So the idea is, if your citizenry is armed with, say, like a semi-auto, 4 shots each. That's it. You know, like 1 million man army. Well, our legal gun owners now can take on, you know, maybe. I mean, obviously the training differences in the militaries and stuff like that. But if you think about it, okay, just numbers wise, okay, we have more legal gun owners than the Chinese have active duty military. You know, so, and the reason why I bring up the Chinese, because they're the ones, if it were to ever happen, they'd be the most likely to invade us. You know, maybe Russia would be joint on there with the North Koreans, you know, and you never know, they'd be probably, like Red Dawn, you'd see them, you know, Venezuela, you know, they would attack from all different angles, who's getting what sector, but, and in the end, they all fight each other. The war is a war, it's pretty predictable that way. But if they had to fight the citizenry in each and every direction, that would be so demoralizing. Not to mention, you say, yeah, but they got tanks and drones and stuff like that. Well, drones are so easy to shoot down, it's not funny. Yeah, right now the drone technology, they're gliders. They don't maneuver, you know. You know, okay, you can't get the guy, the pilot or whatever, because he's way over there somewhere, fine. As soon as the thing's, you know, if it's flying under 1,200 feet, it's shot down, you know, by conventional weapons. It's going to be getting shot up. Remote control airplanes can meet, you know, mortars are not that hard to make. You know, a rocket-powered mortar, basically a big flak gun, you take it out with a flak burst. Not that hard to make. You'd be surprised how easy this stuff to make. If you look at World War I technology, it can take out most drones. You know, you might have to fire 30 shots just to get enough flak in the air to knock it out of the sky. But at 20,000 feet, okay, then you need a jet fighter and stuff like that. But if you think about it, most of the missiles that get fired off of drones, at best, 6,000 feet. Okay, so about 2,000 meter range, give or take, you know. So they have to get within, you know, kill range of a lot of weapons, you know. And drones are not the absolute, you know. Military would take on drones, you know. You know, this is why, like, when I refer to rebuilding the Arrow, if you followed those videos, that I said you need a 25 millimeter cannon with about 2,000 rounds in it, kind of like the CF-100 had, a 20 millimeter cannons with about 2,000 rounds. It's so that you can just, you know, it's not that you can hit one target multiple times, it's that you take a burst, and then you move on to the next target because that one's going down, you know. The idea is that you can, you know, it doesn't matter what your range is if you only have like 5 or 6 or 8 weapons on you. You need numbers, you know what I mean? So I don't think, you know, an invasion would be possible if every citizen was armed. Just with the citizens that we have armed, legally. Never mind the illegals. There's probably about 11 million people armed if you add up the illegal people. Canada's a gun nut. Almost every house in a rural area has guns in it, period. Like, it's not even debatable. It's not even... There's no science that needs to be applied here. So when my prime minister's up north worried about Arctic sovereignty, what he really needs to do is just change a few gun laws, and we've got complete, control over the country. Now, if you offer, again, like the 3rd Canadian Rangers, you could offer, say, kind of like a very small militia. Okay, this guy, he's a little overweight, he's too fat, but he can shoot. Okay, well, here, we'll teach him how to shoot properly and in self-defense, and we'll teach him how to kind of like be a really over-glorified, community watch, type of thing. Okay, they don't patrol with their guns, but should something happen, they've got their firearm to do it. But the thing is it's when I'm prime minister, when I'm 50, I'm going to be running for prime minister. I'm already starting my campaign now. My campaign, to contribute to my campaign is very easy. Just tell people about it. That's it. And these are the things I would do rather than putting billions of dollars to this, billions of dollars to that. We don't need money. We just need a little bit of volunteer. If you volunteer 2 days a year, that's it. Take 33.5 million people, okay? And you volunteer 2 days a year just to do a routine patrol. Again, mostly unarmed, but if you had the right to carry and you took a good conceal or open carry course. I'm a big fan of open carry. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that they sit there and they tell you, oh yeah, but if you open carry, you become a target and people will rob you and they'll take your gun. Has it happened? Yeah, but not very often. Let's just examine this, okay? You got 1,000 people standing there, okay? And one police officer. You'll pick out the police officer right away. Why? Because he's got a uniform on, number one. And you'll notice his gun. How many police officer muggings are there a year? Not too many, right? Why? Because people know that they know how to use that gun. You're not going to even attempt to get near it. Why? Because even if you came out with your own gun, he might still draw on you and shoot you. People don't typically attack people. The thugs don't typically attack people that can fight back. That's why they attack little old ladies and they attack, the disabled. They attack people they think they can take, or they attack in large numbers and they overwhelm. They're wolf packs, or that's what they do. Now, if it's well known that anybody and everybody can take a open or concealed carry course, what happens to your crime rate when you're not sure? Okay, well maybe the guy's carrying, maybe they're not. Well, your crime rate goes down. Why? Because it just makes the occupation for the bad guy to, it's too high of a risk, right? Well, that same psychology also works towards invasion. It's like, we're not going to invade this country or that country because, well, in the words of Yamamoto, there's a gun behind every blade of grass. It'd be just a suicide, In fact, there's probably a lot of guys with 12-gauge shotguns that just say, oh, I'm not buying my duck hunt license this year. I'm ready for the war. Yeah. Yeah, paratroopers, that'd be a duck hunter's paradise, you know what I mean? They're bigger, they're easier to hit, you know what I mean? And I don't even get the sun glare because the parachute's there, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I wouldn't want to be a paratrooper. You definitely have to make sure you landed somewhere where there was no farmers, I'm sure as soon as they got to the ground, the soldier would get you, but, even if you look at it this way, I mean, it wouldn't matter if they killed the civilian population 2 or 3 to 1. There's still just too many of them. It's a numbers game. So a 200 million man army, well, the same thing. You can't move a 200 million man army without people hearing it. You're just not going to do that. So it just makes the impossibility. But what about terrorist attacks and stuff like that? Well, okay, here's where the hypocrisy of Obama is. Okay, and I guess in a sense you could say even in Canada. Here they are saying, okay, that we need to support the Syrian rebels. We need to give them automatic weapons to fight a tyrannical government. But our own citizenry, we should ban weapons of war and weapons of assault weapons and all this stuff. And when you really think about it, well, the civilians are not even really mostly asking for machine guns. Most of us couldn't afford them anyway. Even if you could somebody gave you a machine gun, even a 22, I mean, that'd make you poor pretty fast. You know what I mean? It just can't afford to shoot them. So when you look at it like that, okay, well, it doesn't make sense to tell the citizenry who, in a stable country, no, you cannot, or yeah, here you go, have yourself a firearm. We just want to make sure you know how to use it. There's no reason why you shouldn't do that. It makes everybody technically a conscript. So I'm glad they're doing what he's doing with the 3rd Canadian Rangers, but you could do that for free. Most people would carry their firearms for free. They essentially become off-duty police officers, but you need to train them. It's a training issue. It's not we need to ban this, ban that. But, nothing changes, nothing changes. So you need to rate, need to subscribe. I think the Prime Minister is on the right idea, but he just needs to upscale it a bit. But you don't need to throw money at it. What you need to do is, it's about liberties. You need to say, okay, well, if you want to carry a gun for self-defense, I'm okay with that. Can't have a mental history, you can't have a criminal background, and we want you to take training. That's it. That's it. The training is the key, and people will pay for that too. So, and not only will they carry for free, basically, they become volunteers, but of course you have a legal part of it, the details of the course to be worked out, what's a legal shoot, what's not, that type of thing. But you could also add citizens arrest course, okay, well, and maybe you're armed or you're not armed, but this is how you arrest somebody. All volunteer. Next thing you know, you've got a country full of good Samaritans, and you have no crime rate. Then everybody's bored. So what do they do? Well, let's go to the target range and save the economy, because every time you squeeze the trigger, it costs you something. Yeah, that's what happens. So anyway, I guess I'll leave it at that. So I think the Prime Minister is on the right track with that. But he's more worried about the Arctic sovereignty thing, because of the waters when they're melting. We're going to have warships very soon. Well, we already do have warships of other nations going through our waters, disputed waters. So what's happening between China and Japan, that's eventually going to happen between Canada and Russia, because where does the Arctic shelf begin and where does it end? That's the dispute. And there's also Greenland made claim to it. The Americans have made claim to it. I say, why don't they just all share it? Say you put this much money in, you'll get that much profit out. Make it percentage based. Whatever you put into it, you get that much out. All right, so yeah, rate, subscribe, definitely share. Call your MPs and MLAs. I'll leave links down below. Call them. Let them know you want the right to carry, with training and education, of course. Again, the Americans have done most of the homework, and even if you're against the right to carry, all you have to do is look at the statistics. The statistics are very, very clear that the crime rates drop like a rock. So it means the more people that have the right to carry, the less likely you're going to need to carry. All right, there we go. Hi and welcome. Oh, hey, buddy, how's it going? What's new? Want to move it along a bit? There we got people kind of waiting and watching, Mr. Snail, he's kind of cool. All right, there we go. Okay, so my Prime Minister Stephen Harper, went up to the Arctic and to talk about Arctic sovereignty. And who does he go and hang out with? The 3rd Canadian Rangers. Now, for those of you who don't know who the 3rd Canadian Rangers are, they are kind of a branch of the military. They're kind of what you call an Arctic patrol. When you sign up, basically, it's mostly Inuit and people in the north, right? And what they do is they get issued a snowmobile, a green blazing jacket, or not a bright green blazing jacket, but like a Christmas tree green, and a 303 British. That's so cool. Just for the 303 British, it makes you want to almost volunteer. It's all volunteer from what I understand. Now, apparently they're taking, this should be a big sign for some people. We're going from, I think, 1,500 to 5,000 of them. They're going to increase this Arctic Patrol. So what's really going on? They're vigilant. You think of them like they're scouting their recon, right? But they're also polar bear patrol, and they're also, people get lost, and they do a lot of different things, and they're pretty cool. So I see a picture on the CBC of my Prime Minister, shooting a 303 British. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. It kind of makes it, maybe, okay, it's not Laurier Putin with his AKs, but, okay, that's pretty good. But then I'm like, but here's the thing. I own a 303 British, okay? So I'm like, okay, that's nice and all, but let's get back to the gun rights here in Canada. Well, maybe, if you really wanted absolute security of the country, you need to get rid of the ridiculous gun laws. You need it to make it easier for people to not only get firearms, that, I'm talking law-abiding only. But I'm okay with the safety training course. Yes, I hate to see government make money, but I do believe in training. Even if you're an American watching this, I don't think you should have a gun in your hand unless you know how to use it. And this idea, well, I know how to use everything. I'm smarter than everybody else. No, you need training. Even if it's a kind of a kindergarten, dumbed-down version of training of the basics, it's just to plant that seed of safety. And that's how I feel about guns. The right to carry guns, oh, hell yeah.